Hey folks, welcome into Pro Football Ireland as we get closer not just to training camp but also the start of the NFL season. I think we're on like team 16 now, or a team focus, where we actually go in and talk about each team in detail. Delighted to welcome Brandon London onto the podcast. Brandon, it's always good to see you, to hear from you. How are you doing as we get even closer to another fun-filled season, man?
Shoot, man, I'm getting antsy, man. It's that time of the year where it's like it's just baseball season over here in the States. And I work with SNY and the New York Post. So I'm covering all the local sports teams, professional teams. And I'm tired of talking about the Mets. I'm tired of talking about the Yankees. I want to get into some Giants football, man. So training camp it's coming up. Well, at the time we're recording this, it's coming up, but it's the expectations are high around the tri-states for this New York Giants football team. And I'm anxious to see the product they put on the field this season.
It's even from a non-fan viewpoint, I think for the neutral, it's going to be really intriguing to see how they take that next step. I guess talking about that next step, they had to get that step first off. Genuinely, and this is not meant in a negative way, how surprised were you last year at just how much Brian Daboll could do in such a short period of time? And they really turned things around so quickly as well, didn't it?
Dude, I was very surprised. I'm not going to lie on that. I didn't expect much going into last season. In fact, I think I saw a tweet that I put out off season of last season, like somewhat around the July time of last year. And I was telling fans to kind of manage their expectations. They didn't have much groceries to cook with, And, Brian Daboll just came in and he just surpassed everyone's expectations. He and that entire coaching staff, he's not going to be one of those guys who takes all the credit himself. But kudos to him. Kudos to Mike Kafka. Wink Martindale brought a different type of energy into that building. Just the whole coaching staff in general. Like you just see it from day one, man. And that energy lasted throughout the entire year. I was in-house with the Giants since 2016, doing all the in-house media. Now I'm only allowed to do like the emceeing and some of the fan event stuff because of my job with the New York Post. But just going in the building and still talking to a lot of the friends that I have in the building, players, people within the sales team, community relations team, PR team, everyone just kept saying, you just kept hearing it. It was just like, man, it feels good to be in contention in October. Man, it feels good to be able to laugh in the cafeteria and not feel like someone's looking at you like, what are you laughing at? We're 3-8 or something like that, So it was just a breath of fresh air. But at the same time, the hunters have now become the hunted. This is a team that the expectations are, I think, the highest they've been on Giants football for quite some time. And the only way to go, well, there's room to go up for sure, but there's a lot of room to go down. There's a lot of room to take steps back. But I don't believe that Brian Daboll is going to allow this team to do that. They seem focused. And right now it's just one of those things. They stay healthy. Who knows what the limit could be for this team.
Just before we go into this season, very, very quickly, I think it's important to mention, because we had it's either coming up or it's just been on the network, a Green Bay team focus, and we talked to one of the beat writers around just what he thought of London, and he said he never heard anything like it in terms of atmosphere. Obviously, it was a great day for your Giants. That was one hell of a weekend and one hell of a day in Tottenham, wasn't it?
Oh, man, I can only give you guys a PG-13 version of how much fun I had. But, man, look, I've always been big on the NFL over there, the NFL in UK. My rookie year, I went over there with the Giants for that first international game. Then I came back in 2016 at Twickenham Stadium, and then to come back again and do it this year. Man, we had so much fun. The Horse and Guardsmen was a great time because they were the ones that hosted a lot of the Giants events. I was emceeing those events. And there are times where, I'll give you guys a story, like the Giants would be finished. Like, remember we shot the Eli Manning show, and the staff and everyone would be tired and like, oh, I'm going back to the hotel. Me? Oh, I'm staying. I'm hanging out. I was just hanging out. It seemed like we were just having a blast, having a great time. And then you get to the actual game and the atmosphere and the environment, and what it was like outside of Tottenham. And I remember taking the Uber, and the Uber dropped me off super far. And I was just like, look at all these people. And it put a smile on my face because the football just continues to grow. and it becomes to go on a global scale. So as long as I'm still affiliated with the Giants, if they play in Antarctica, I'm gonna be right there with them, emceeing with a penguin somewhere or something. But I mean, kudos to the NFL UK fans, the NFL Europe fans, and honestly, man, I want to get over there and do TV. I want to get over there and do NFL stuff, broadcasting and stuff over there, because it's an untapped market, and I want to get over there and really heighten the stories and the people over there, because we had such a great time.
Absolutely, and it's mad. Like a couple of weeks ago, they put the Dolphins and the Chiefs on sale for Frankfurt, and they got over 1.6 million people even trying to buy tickets. But last year, I enjoyed the atmosphere more than the Super Bowl, and it said a lot. It's funny because you talk about going into last year, and there were so many questions about Daniel Jones, and people were saying, like, analysts are saying he would need to have almost an MVP type season to really cement his future in New York. Well, he got what he wanted, like 160 million over 4 years, could go to 190 million. Were you surprised when that deal was done, or do you think maybe consistency and giving him that opportunity, in line with a lot of quarterbacks are getting similar money anyway at this point in the league? Just sort of your thoughts on that move for the Giants, just as they go forward, Brandon.
I think they did a great job locking up the quarterback that they felt that Brian Daboll could kind of groom and have success with. The quarterback and the head coach, they're married together in terms of their success and the success of an organization. So when you look at a Brian Daboll and you see the things he did with Josh Allen up there in Buffalo, and how Josh Allen's first couple of years, he was kind of wishy-washy, man, a little inconsistent. But then they traded for a Stephon Diggs, got him a number one receiver, and kind of opened up that offense for Josh Allen. You look at some of the attributes that Josh Allen has, and they're comparable to a Daniel Jones. They're both big as I'm 6'4", 6'5". Daniel Jones is taller than me. It's a big dude. The big guys that are mobile, they're not scrambling quarterbacks. They're mobile enough. And they both had to kind of prove it to get the deal that they wanted. I think now if you compare the guys after the deal between a Josh Allen and a Daniel Jones has a tremendous amount of way more pressure on him now to succeed than a Josh Allen. I understand with Buffalo and how that is a football town, but this here is New York City, not New York State. If they give you money, if they pay you here, they want Manning production. They want Manning moments. And I think Daniel Jones, with that type of money, is going to have to at least bring that team to a Super Bowl and play well in that Super Bowl for all that to be justified, for that to be even. But at the same time, man, they brought in Darren Waller. They got a number one tight end. I know people are like, oh, he's not a number one receiver. But if you keep that guy healthy, man, he's caught over 100 balls twice in his career. We know what he is. We know what he can be. And we know what he can do for this offense. You bring in guys like Paris Campbell, another speed guy. You draft Jalen Hyatt. They're showing that they're putting pieces around Daniel Jones. And I have a stat here for you. Last year, in the Giants' 2022 wins, the leading receiver, week 1, Sterling Shepard, 71 yards. Week 2, 51 yards, Richie James. Week 4 win, 23 yards, Daniel Bellinger. That's the tight end. Week 5, 79 yards, Darius Slayton. Week 6, 38 yards, Daniel Bellinger. Week 7, 58 yards, Darius Slayton. Week 10, 95 yards, Darius Slayton. Week 15 and 17, 42 yards and 76 yards, Richie James. Not one Giants receiver had over 100 yards receiving in a win. This is the year that Mike Kafka, Daniel Jones, and this Giants pass offense is going to command respect. This is their year for them to no longer to get looked at as guys that you can just play man-to-man, single high safety, load 8 in the box, and try and stop Saquon and or that run game. This is that year where they have to take that step now, not only to justify what Daniel Jones got paid, but to also to continue to make the proper steps to get towards NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. But that first starts with beating the Eagles, the Cowboys, and you only do that by throwing the ball.
I think certainly just in the conference with the NFC, just in what you said there, it's really interesting. Just all those players and the stats that they had, and if they can, obviously with Kafka take it to that next step this year, it's going to be awesome. Just as a neutral to watch that, because having that third team in the NFC East challenge and challenge and challenge is going to make it even more exciting, certainly. And I
Hey,
know the game is not played on paper, Brandon, but if you look at the schedule, like the schedule is. It's interesting. Like, I mean, do you look at those first few games like Niners, Seahawks, Dolphins, Bills, Commanders, and think, "Whoa, like this is," or or for me, is it like maybe I've got too much of a neutral head on, or are Giants fans, analysts going, "Bring it on, man," because the Niners have to go to Pittsburgh week 1, and then they face you guys on a Thursday night, short week. Like, there's a real potential there to start off strong.
I think every fan should look at the schedule neutral. Don't like you could be a 49ers fan and be like, oh, well, we got an easy schedule. Or you could be a Falcons fan. Oh, we got look, it's everyone's 0-0 right now. Everyone's looking like, don't look at the last year was last year. Last year's teams, last year's ups and downs was last year's ups and downs. So when you look at the schedule on paper, you could be like, oh, well, there's a 49ers. Oh, there's a Cowboys. Yeah, pretty strong teams again on paper. But how many teams last year did we see that we thought were going to be top dogs fall and be nothing? The Denver Broncos. How many teams came out of nowhere? Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Giants. I bet the Packers fans, they looked at the Giants on their schedule last year and be like, oh, that's an automatic win. Same thing with the Minnesota Vikings fans in the playoffs. When they got into the playoffs, oh, we can beat this team again. So when I look at the schedule, yeah, I'm like, you can't get caught up too much in it because you're looking at it from a last year's perspective. Everybody gets hit with some sort of injuries. Every team goes through some sort of adversity, and every team gets hot and cold at different moments. It's all about catching and playing a team at the right time. Now, all the Giants got to do is worry about, and Brian Dable's going to do this. He preaches this method, one game at a time. Just take it one game at a time. Don't look at who's where, who's doing what. Line up against the Dallas Cowboys that opening night. Punch Dak. Punch CD Lamb, punch these guys in the face, because they did it last year on Monday Night Football when they came into MetLife Stadium. So it's time to return the favor and start off 1-0 on the season.
Man, that's a hell of a start. I can't wait for that game. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, great.
We've got like 5-6 minutes, and it's great because we're getting through so much. It's awesome, and I really, really appreciate it. We're trying not to go too much on the time element, but do you know what? Why not? Let's just say it. I'll put this out either around the 17th of July or just before or after, for people listening wondering, is he got a time machine? Saquon Barkley. Just sort of wondering your thoughts. Like, let's be honest, we're recording this at the start of July, just while we get a little bit of a lull in the off season. Do you think he'll be playing for the Giants, or do you think he might sit it out, or just hold out? Sorry, and
I think
it's going to be intriguing what happens.
Of course, he's going to play for the Giants. It's like, why would you sit that out? Like, what are you doing to yourself? You're already in and I'm team Saquon on this one. Like, I'm hoping, I know they're going to get a deal done. I know they're going to get a deal done. The plan is to have 26 in that backfield, because you can't have success next year. You're not beating the Dallas Cowboys first game of the season without 26 in that backfield. I don't care what nobody says. So get it done. They're going to get that done. At the time we're recording this, it's not done right now, but I was in the building for the Giants media day stuff. They're doing the media day stuff. Everyone kept saying, I kept, trying to ask questions here or there. Everyone kept saying family business is family business. That's what they say. But they're preparing like 26 is going to be on this team come opening game this season. Like, you have to. So from the Saquon standpoint of it, I'd be bummed. I'd be a little upset if I was him as well. Like erroneous reports, leaks and stuff getting out, stuff making him seem like he's greedy. All he's done is show up and worked since the first day he got here. And I could say I've been around since the first day he got here. So that's not fair to 2-6 that these things got out. But at the same time, he knows he's got unfinished business with this organization. They know they've got unfinished business when it comes to Saquon Barkley. So I think I guess I gotta say think, or in media you gotta say allegedly and reportedly and all this. Man, the deal's gonna get done. They're gonna you gotta take care of a guy like that. If not, are other players going to look at the front office if it's like, yo, you guys not locking up our best player? You know, you guys couldn't throw incentives in, or if I'm a guy, it's like, man, I'll take a pay cut to make sure we got 2-6 in this lineup. Because at the end of the day, I understand that professional sports is a business, but you play for the guys within that locker room. You always do it. And when you've worked out with these guys, you've experienced the highs and lows. And with this organization, a lot of lows in the last couple of years, you want to get back to that winning feeling. You want to put the Giants back on the map as a threat in this league. So I feel as though Saquon Barkley and the Giants are going to come to terms sooner than later.
And ultimately, happy with the draft. Night 2, the guy from Minnesota, John Michael Schmidt's got a big pop at our draft party, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, man. It was interesting to see that pop. Decent business done in the draft, especially with Deontay Banks coming in there as well.
Yeah, Deontay Banks, a long corner that can run. You've heard great reports out of him coming out of OTAs. He's fearless. And it's one of those things, like I read some report, like I don't know if it was clickbait or whatever, but they're like, oh, well, he got beat by Darius Slayton. You're going to get beat. You're a rookie. You think you're just going to come in and lock everybody up right away? Like it's good on good. Iron sharpens iron, you know? So it's one of those things where OTAs, those guys, the Jalen Hyatts, the JMS, John Michael Schmidt, they came in and they showed why they were drafted. Now it's all about picking up the playbook, not in the sense of, all right, it's trips right. I'm the Z, I'm all the way to the right, and I got whatever concept. Now, when you get into training camp and you get into those first couple games, Coach Coughlin used to always say, no and know you know. So know why you have this curl route. Know why you got to take this curl route to 14 yards instead of 12 on certain protections or certain play actions or something. So when you're picking up the intricacies of an offense or a defense or a playbook in general, then that's, you're going to have growing pains. But if you're still out there showing why they drafted you athletically and the smarts on how you picking up things, you're going to be fine. I think they did a great job with the draft with a lot of these guys they brought in. Also, the kid that, forget his first name, the running back, Gray, out of Oklahoma. That's a guy you need to keep an eye on as well. That may push Matt Breida for that running back 2 spot, may push Gary Brightwell for that running back 2, running back 3. He's a guy that he might command some carries this season. So keep an eye on him this preseason.
Very quick double barrel final question. First off, has Rodgers coming into the New York market? I know it's New Jersey, but has it changed things a little bit just in that sense? I can't wait to see the newspapers. And then finally, just your expectations for the year, man. Like, what would be like the minimum standard for this team this year, as far as you're concerned?
When it comes to A-Raj, he definitely has that star power. We went out there for the New York Post, SNY, and we went and we covered Jets OTA number 8. That was his first OTA coming back from that calf. And he went out there. You just saw the scrum. You just hear different people, different outlets like, man, there's never this many people here. There's a lot of people here, a lot of media covering practice, OTA practice. So Aaron Rodgers brings that. He also brings the star power within the locker room. You heard guys like Quincy, what's his name, man? Oh, man.
I'm the same. It's going in my head.
Yeah, it's you heard we spoke. I know Lakin Tomlinson was one of the guys we spoke to, and then Carl Lawson was another guy we spoke to, and he was talking about, and the reporters were asking him like, do you feel as though Aaron is putting a spotlight on you guys because he's talking Super Bowl? And they all like, man, that's what we talk about. That's how we talk in the locker room. Like, what's the point of showing up if you're not talking Super Bowl? So now they got a guy that they can believe in, that when he talks it, he prepares himself like he wants to win one. Well, like he's already won one. And he carries a moxie. I took that word from Osi Umenyiora. He carries a moxie around like he's going to get them to that Super Bowl. And the New York media has caught that. It's infectious. And we've been drawn to it. Now it's all about he's got to go out and he's got to produce. On the Giants end, and when it comes to expectations for this team, I'm trying to, again, it's just like last year, man. I'm trying to manage my expectations, not to go baseball on you guys, but remember, the Mets had a really great season last year. Buck Showalter came in, changed the team around. Just look at what the Mets did last year. Now look at it now. I'm about to do an interview now where I'm asking fans like, should they fire Buck? Everyone's fire Buck was trending on Twitter now a year later. So this is how crazy this market can be when it comes to sports and success when you're playing professional sports in New York. So I'm managing my expectations because I don't want to think too high or even think too low of this team. But again, I'm taking the day ball approach where it's one game at a time. Just win your matchup, one play, one rep, one game at a time. Be great, one play at a time.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, I really appreciate it, man. For people listening, follow the man, Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon London TV. I'll hopefully get a reel up of that Saquon thing. Brandon, enjoy the season. Thank you so much. Chat to you soon, man.
No problem. Take it easy.